Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the Bamberg School District 1 Board of Trustees meeting to order. On the agenda, item number 2, which is approval of the agenda. You have all had the opportunity to receive and review the agenda. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the agenda as presented.
We have a motion on the floor that we accept the agenda as it's been presented. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, and you're all in favor of approval of the agenda, please signal by saying aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? All right, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Item number 3, approval of the minutes for September 21st, 2020. You have had the opportunity to receive and review the minutes from the September 21st, 2020 board meeting. What is the pleasure of the board with regards to accepting and approving the minutes from that meeting?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the minutes of September 21st board meeting.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor that we accept the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, and you're in an agreement, please signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? All right, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Item number 4, school reports. First up, we have the report from Ms. Stacy Walters, and you will take care of that for us, Mrs. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And if it's okay, I'm going to take off my mask since I'm about to do most of the talking tonight. As you can tell, the principals are not in attendance tonight. We decided to limit attendance to kind of exercise some extra precautions due to COVID. So I'll be giving the school reports tonight on behalf of the principals and the athletic report on behalf of Coach Williams, athletic director.
Okay.
So I'll start with Rich Carroll Elementary School. And you have a copy of Ms. Walters' report. Currently, her enrollment at Rich Carroll Elementary School stands at 639 students, with 278 of those being virtual and 361 coming face-to-face. She reports that virtual learning and face-to-face are going well, with more students returning face-to-face every day. We've started not 1 but 2 after-school programs. The first is a general regular after-school program funded through the original 6 foundation. It is held for students in grades 3 through 6. And then there's an additional after-school program at Rich Carroll Elementary School that's funded through the CARES Act. It's targeting students in grades kindergarten through grade 6. Both programs focus on assisting students in low-performing areas and with homework. To date, they've only had 2 disciplinary issues, and we've had close to 75 students slated to return to school at the end of Q1. Some have already begun returning. Some will return in the next couple of weeks at the end of the 9 weeks. And so far, we have had 3 cases of COVID-19, 3 positive cases at Rich Carroll Elementary School. And there is 1 correction as of this morning. There is now 1 staff member who tested positive for COVID-19. We're still remaining in the first 3 months of school with less than 5. And then lastly, teachers, teacher assistants, custodians, bus drivers, administration, and our parents and grandparents continue to do a magnificent job of accomplishing daily tasks at Richard Carroll Elementary. Next, for Mrs. Denise Miller, her current enrollment overall is 192 students in grades 7 and 8. You can see the breakdown there. She's got 118 face-to-face learners, 74 virtual learners. Confirmed positive COVID-19 cases at Bamberg Middle School is 0. She too is running an after-school tutoring program which began on October 6th. It's offered to all 7th and 8th graders, either face-to-face or virtually attending students. Currently there are 50 students participating in that program, so it's excellent turnout for participation. It is going 3 days a week, Tuesday through Wednesday. The PSAT was administered on October the 14th, and Mrs. Miller made me swear that I would mention the BEMS athletics who are doing so well, the teams. Volleyball at the middle school, they've had an undefeated season, and BEMS football is 3 wins and 1 loss. So doing well. Bamberg High School enrollment currently is at 371, and you can see the breakdown there by grade levels. We have currently 211 students attending face-to-face, compared to last month's 171, so you can see more students have returned at the high school. And we have 160 currently attending virtually, versus last month at 203 attending virtually. I would like to report on behalf of Mr. Ulmer, and I'm proud to say that it was reported in the media recently in the last few days. Bamberg High School had the highest mean SAT scores than out of all of the surrounding districts listed. Our highest mean SAT score was 1,009 among our students, and you can see the other surrounding districts and their scores compared to ours. I think the closest one that got close to our highest mean was Bamberg. COVID numbers at Bamberg High School today remain at 0 for students and teachers. Okay.
Mrs. Brown, I do have a question. On the face-to-face, this month versus last month, going from 171 to 211, is that as a result of not being able to adjust to the...
It varies. Okay. 2 reasons. The primary reason that prompted this was we contacted all students at midterm grading point, and any students that were below a C average were contacted and asked, what's the problem? Are you not adjusting well to virtual instruction? And would you like to return face-to-face? The other reason was some students that were trying to attend virtually were still having trouble accessing the internet, even with the hotspots, because of where they lived.
Okay.
So their parents decided for them to return face-to-face.
Okay.
So those are the 2 primary reasons.
Thank you.
And then some students did tell us they just want to come back to school.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Ms. Brown, before we move on, with the middle school, I just wanted to ask, on the sheet it says that there's 3 days a week, but it just says Tuesday through Wednesday. That's just 2 days.
It's Tuesday through Wednesday. Tuesday through Thursday. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay.
And that's at all the schools. It's the same 3 days because of running buses. Okay. As for the athletics report from Coach Robert Williams, or Mr. Robert Williams, first and foremost, you have in your packet a handout from him. It was intended for us to bring in the coaches tonight, or as many of them as we could get here, that wasn't having practices or games, they weren't having. But because they cannot come tonight, we have provided you all with a list of all of their names and the sport for which they coach. So if you have any questions about any of that, Coach Williams said just email him or give him a call. Secondly, I would like to recognize, and so would Coach Williams, a couple of outstanding achievements that our athletics teams have achieved. And first and foremost is our girls volleyball and our girls tennis teams both finished second in the region. Our tennis team goes to Philip Simmons tomorrow for first round playoffs. Volleyball goes to Johnsonville next Tuesday for first round JV and B team. Volleyball went undefeated this year. Again, Ms. Miller wanted me to stress that too at the middle school. That's phenomenal that our JV and B team went undefeated this year. But also that our tennis, it has been 13 years since Bamberg hosted a tennis team. So we come back this year for the first time after many years and finish second in the region. So congratulations to our girls. Our football players, as you know, with Friday night's win, won the region. Cross country has made state playoffs too. And we have qualifying meet for state on October 31st. So we hope to make state and cross-country as well. Okay. Any questions about the athletics?
I don't have any questions. And now we're down to item number 6, which is student staff recognition and superintendent's report.
Okay. Start off with the fun information for tonight, and that's our district and school teachers of the year and other employees of the year. As you know, it's been a number of years since Bamberg School District 1 participated in Teacher of the Year at the state level. So this year we are again conducting that for a great cause, and that's recognizing the outstanding job that all of our teachers do, but these in particular. This year I'd like to announce that our District Teacher of the Year, selected by her peers and by our District Selection Committee, is Miss Sarah Catherine Williams. Our School Teachers of the Year at Richard Carroll Elementary School was Mary Templeton. Bamberg Earhart Middle School was Miss Charlotte Schlamp. And in Bamberg Earhart High School, Miss Vanessa Glover Robinson. We also didn't stop with Teachers of the Year. There are many support personnel that work in our district that are the backbones of our school and make our jobs possible every day. We didn't want those individuals to go unrecognized for the outstanding jobs that they do, because without them, we couldn't do our jobs. The first category was educational support personnel. These included our aides, parapros, shadows. It was a 4-way tie.
Wow.
Votes were counted 3 times at the district office. Still ended up to being a 4-way tie, and I couldn't agree more because all of these individuals do an outstanding job. Betty Mack, who works here at the high school. Mr. Terrell Haynes, who started at our elementary school and now is all over the district. Miss Angela Grimes, who's housed at the elementary school. And Miss Tanya Cohen, who is housed at the middle school. So congratulations to all of those individuals, and we sincerely thank them for the hard work they do every day. Our Custodian of the Year, voted by the peers, Mr. Eugene Anderson. Our Food Service Worker of the Year, Miss Elaine Crosby. Our School Nurse of the Year, Mrs. Michelle Kinsey. Our Bus Driver of the Year, Miss Taria Brown. And lastly, but not leastly, our Secretary and Administrative Assistant of the Year is Mrs. Jeanette Stokes.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ms. Stokes.
Thank you.
Wow, that's great.
And I have a copy of all the lists if y'all like a list of their names. Ms. Stokes, I'm sorry, that's why I couldn't give you a copy to hand out because your name is on it.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. Congratulations
Thank you
to
so
all
much.
of the winners.
But I'm holding a folder
You can have one more.
for Tony and
Okay. I'll just pass
John.
this list to you. Thank you.
Thank you. There you go. All right.
Okay, in your package you have a copy of our school calendar. There was a error caught on our calendar. It was listed on the calendar, but it was not color-coded correctly, so Ms. Stokes, who's the great secretary that she is, corrected the calendar. It was the half a day that we get out before winter break, and so you have an updated copy of the calendar with that correction on it.
All right.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
So,
it didn't have to be color coded, it's just.
Yeah, it would had to be,
That was my question, okay.
yes,
That's
down
fine.
at the bottom,
Gotcha.
December 18th. It's an
Yes.
early dismissal day,
Mhm.
and she put it on the calendar the way it should be.
Okay,
Okay?
great, thank you.
It's an attendance day, but it's also an early dismissal day.
Okay.
Okay, so on the agenda now, we are down to item 6E. So this is just general information. There are some repairs to our parking lot and pavement areas here at Bamberg High School that we're going to have to make. One is to get 2 parking spaces in the back of the high school ADA compliant, because we are going to have to add, do you want to hold that? I don't think we need to do that now. But you can show them, I don't know if you can see it, but this is where we have to bring in the parking spaces that are not marked.
Is this like if you're standing at the back of the gym or maybe the back of your office at the high school and you're looking out?
It is.
Okay,
It is, and if you, excuse me, I'm walking in front of you. Along this area here
mm-hmm,
and back here,
mm-hmm,
these are staff parking spaces.
mm-hmm.
But for activities and events at the high school, we are going to have to add 2 handicap parking spaces. And in order to bring these into ADA compliance, we have to have those clearly marked, labeled, paved, and the works. So those are some updates that we are going to be doing to the back of the high school. This area here, also, you can't see it, that I was trying to zoom in on it, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
There's an area when you come around the back of the high school where our cars are lined up, the pavement drops off. It looks like this area is paved, but that's actual all sand. And it's about that deep from the pavement level. It drops in, a good 4 inches or more. And when it does rain, this whole area floods and holds water on both sides. I did it again. So that's one area that we have to bring in compliance and pave and get corrected. We're going to have some gravel hauled in, some stone, and then some pavement done, relining the parking spaces and painting them the correct color for handicap parking and clearly marking them as handicap spaces. Also on the other side of the fence, we need to add parking for staff that have been assigned those parking spaces, but they're not paved nor marked on the other side. But we have also designated the other side of the fence for visitors for coming for volleyball games and basketball games and other events to secure their buses, coaches' cars, and other people driving from away teams to park in that area. And now this area that he's showing you, we also need to connect. This is coming directly across from the baseball field, but when you come around that curve, this parking area here is disconnected from the one, I don't know if you can tell up here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a large chunk of grassy area that we need to have paved and those parking spaces clearly marked. This will allow, too, more of our students to park up closer to the school and not have to park so far away down by the football field for security reasons. And also provide more parking spaces for our baseball games. And then this is a major area down by the field house. If you notice, if you're looking at the field house to the right of the field house, these gates enter that little side road. It is now all dirt, but as you can see, again, the erosion comes off, the water drips off the field house, drips down and runs down into that low area where the girls' softball kitchen shed is. Water just sits all out here in this area. We were unable to repaint all those parking spaces because the road has been eroded away. It's created pits, what do you call them?
Yeah,
Potholes.
yeah.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. But we need to get this area here paved, but also install a drain line to carry the water off away from the field house and back behind this. This is the other end of what that area I was just talking about. If you're standing at the field house but you're looking down at the football field, this little area goes all the way down that fence line, and you can see which we tried to clean it up some, but where the water has eroded the road all the way back to where we put those ties in, all of that needs to be repaved, repainted, and actually curb stops put in for cars to park at. And then put in drain lines on this end and at the other end down by the field house, and connected to piping that takes the water back behind the girls softball pitching shed, away from that area.
The curb stops that you, or the stops that you're talking about, is that so they don't run into the fence there?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, we are talking about high school kids that have parking spaces there.
Okay.
We want them to stop before they hit the fence.
Gotcha.
So, and that too is another safety compliance measure.
Now, what's the distance, and maybe, maybe you can let us know, Chris, what's the distance between like that curb and the fence itself? I see like a little bit of grass in front of it. Go up further, right? And what is it?
4.5, 5 foot, something like that.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
gotcha. So the front end of someone's car, if you were to park there head on, the front of their car could actually dent the fence.
Right. Well,
Okay.
I don't know if it would reach that far. It's a bigger distance than what it looks
Than what
like
it
in the
looks like?
picture.
Okay.
It's probably 4 feet or more.
Oh, 4
And when
feet.
we pull the curb stops out, they'll be at the distance that they're supposed to be, so as
Okay.
that not to allow that to happen. They would literally have to run over the curb stops to
Okay.
hit the fence.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
But that is what we're talking about with item 6E, is that we have some flooding and some water issues, and the paving is going to help address some of those issues, and hauling in gravel and stone and building those low areas up to where it won't hold water so much. Okay, and I thought that it would be good to give you guys a mold update. Last month I reported that mold was found in some classrooms at the elementary school. In your packet, you were given a copy of the letter that Ms. Furr, Mr. Paget, and myself received last week. This is the company that did the air quality test. They were here twice. They came the first time and tested all the rooms. Attached to that is the reports from those tests from the first time that he came. Then any room that was found to have any evidence of mold, a cleaning company was then contacted to come do the professional cleaning and the removal of the mold. Then the company came back a second time and did air quality tests in the rooms again. So we wanted to provide you guys with a copy of the letter and the reports from all of those visits. And then now the air quality in those rooms are back to where they were supposed to be. And I'll let Mr. Paget, he also went with Mr. Hires asked at the last meeting about our HVAC systems in that building. So I'll let Mr. Paget talk about that, because we had our contracted company come and inspect those as well.
Like Ms. Brown said, we had Hoffman & Hoffman, who is the contractor who handles those units at elementary school, come in. Along with Harris Integrated Solutions, they came in as well. They handled the actual controls of the HVAC systems. They found all the units to be properly maintained, up to snuff, all the charges, discharge temps, everything else working proper. We did find an issue in one of the rooms with a humidity set point that was set improperly, which was causing some issues. So all the rooms checked out. Like she said, all the rooms are good to go back. They're ready to go back into. All the units are working properly. Everything else is functional and acceptable. Lee Capella at ARS was telling us that they've seen a lot of this over this year, especially with the lack of occupancy in the buildings for an extended period of time over the last several months due to COVID-19. So that could have been an issue causing what we've seen. But all the rooms are good to go now.
Okay.
Also, this is not on the agenda, but I did want to mention this. Today, we received, Molly Spearman called a Zoom meeting with superintendents this morning, and afterwards she followed up with a memo to the districts. The mobile hotspots that were provided to students at the cost of the state until December the 20th, That now has been extended through June
Yes, ma'am.
of 2021. So at no cost to parents. So our students that were eligible and received those mobile MiFi hotspots can continue to use them, which the district was going to pick up the expense anyway after December. So it's not to interrupt instruction for our students attending virtually. But now we don't have to do that. The second wave of CARES Act money will take care of that for the state of South Carolina.
Thank you.
And I'm going to continue with Ms. Furr's report, if that's okay, because she
Okay.
too is not here tonight.
That's item number 7 on the agenda, okay?
So you have a copy of her financial report, and if you have any questions, Ms. Furr said please feel free to contact her, email, or call her. She'll be happy to answer your questions.
Okay. Well, since she's not here, with regards to the monthly financial report, perhaps we can, I'll entertain a motion if you want to simply accept it. If you all are interested in doing that, if you'd like to make a motion to accept it as it's been presented.
Madam Chair, I move that the financial report be received as presented.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, and you're in agreement, please signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposition? There is none. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next on the agenda is item number 8, which is visitors' comments. And we have Mr. Ken Allen.
Yes,
I did
ma'am.
not forget that you were on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
sign-in sheet.
I am.
All right.
Now, yeah, I guess the comment is more of a recommendation,
Okay.
more so communication with the public. We're in the 21st century now. I mentioned it briefly to Mr. Paget tonight, but papers come and go. I know a lot of your communication that's required by school board policy. You know, you have to put public hearings, whether it be, might even be school board meetings. You know, a lot of times they're in the paper. Papers come and go, as we saw with the advertiser Herald. Then you have the new paper that's supposedly. I was wondering if it's possible in this day and age, if you could just do an email system, just like every website you've ever been to. You want to opt in? I want to know, check mark, public hearings. I want to know this. So when you release it, boom, it goes out to the people that show an interest or signed up. Since you'll maintain the website, I don't want to say it should be easy, but people would have to sign up, and then it also might even save you some money, you know, with the papers. You might have to change your policy to allow electronic transmission, but we're accomplishing the same goal, but not everybody gets a paper, and you never know anymore with papers, just saying, hey, if I'm sitting at home, boom, I just got a notification that, hey, public hearing on this day, they did it 2 weeks in advance, and you really don't have to do nothing, and then you might save some money too.
Okay.
So it might just be more efficient, but that's really about it.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, and you heard all that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll look into that. All right. All right, next on the agenda is item number 9 for executive session. We have listed personnel recommendations, shared service and contractual agreements, student transfers, and personnel recommendations for resignation. What is the pleasure of the board with regards to executive session?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss item A, B, and C.
All right, we have a motion on the floor that we move into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, and you are in agreement that we move into executive session, please signal by stating aye. Aye. No opposition? All right, the ayes have it. We are now into executive session. And I thank you, Mr. Okay, alrighty, okay. I'll entertain a motion that we come out of executive session.
Madam Chair, I move that we come out of executive session.
We have a motion that we come out of executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion that we come out of executive session, and we have a second. Is there any discussion? If not, and you're in agreement, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, the ayes have it. We are out of executive session. What is the pleasure of the board with regards to item A, personnel recommendations?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve shared service agreement for employee A and employee B.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, and you're in agreement, please signal by saying aye. Aye. There is no opposition, so the ayes have it. What is the pleasure of the board with regards to contractual agreements?
Madam Chair, I move that the board authorize the board chair to execute the contract amendment to extend the services of the educational consultant.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, and you're in agreement, please signal by saying aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? All right, the ayes have it. Next, what is the pleasure of the board with regards to student transfer, A, B, C, and D?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept student transfers for student A, B, C, and D.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, and you're in agreement, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
There is no opposition, so the ayes have it. What is the pleasure of the board with regards to personnel recommendations for resignation?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the resignation of employee A.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, if you're in agreement, please signal by saying aye. Aye. There is no opposition, so the ayes have it. And we are now down to item number 11. If you all are ready to go home, I will entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion on the floor that we adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, and you're in agreement, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. There is no opposition. The ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned.